Hey, everybody. Welcome to Power Hour, starring me and, of course, the one and only inimitable Giles Tiger Thomas. That's a hard word. All the way from the UK. Giles, we're going to be talking today about the Romania Muscle Fest happening in a few days with Andrew Jack making one last appearance for 2025 on stage. Going to get your impressions on the Prague Pro, where you were the live stream commentator, up close and personal, saw all the action. And we're going to wrap it up talking about the amazing Ronnie Coleman tour that you just wrapped up a couple days ago. But let's start with Andrew. When I heard he was doing another show this year, I couldn't understand what would be the benefit. I love using that word, the benefit of doing another show, because he's already qualified for the Olympia. Top three automatically qualify. I don't happen to know the money for Romania, the first prize. Do you have any idea?
No, that's a good question, because Prague was 30, but I think Romania has more. Does it have more pro categories? I'm just going off my head here. It usually has all the pro categories, including female bodybuilding. So yeah. So I'd imagine it'd be, well, I'm guessing probably 20, 30, something like that. But yeah, Andrew doing this one, I didn't know that as well, because I wanted him to do Prague. And I thought maybe he might do both, because he said he's got no problems with visas now, because I'm in constant communication with Andrew. I speak to him quite frequently because I'm working on another tour for after the Arnold UK next year. But I'm guessing because maybe Jake or Alina reached out to him. At the end of the day, it's why not, So it's not too far for him to fly from Dubai to Romania. So probably his confidence is probably sky high after the Olympia. And probably just thought, do you know what? Why not go pick up some extra money up and go get an extra win?
Yeah. Apparently, he did a video with Ryan Terry. People let me know in the comments from the Meathead podcast that I did last night that he wants to use this sort of an experiment to push the conditioning to see if he can get even more conditioned than he was at the Olympia. And even if he didn't say this, but this is my guess, even if he is maybe a little flat in doing so, it's going to be a good trial run that he can apply next year for the Arnold, for the Olympia, whatever shows he decides to do. He's got nothing to lose. I mean, looking at the lineup, there's nobody that stands a chance of beating him. He beat a better lineup back at FIBO in, what was that, 80% condition, 85? So, I mean, good on him. But what do you think as far as that idea?
What idea, sorry?
Oh, as far
the
as
the conditioning.
Yeah,
why not?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, just what do you think of doing this as a trial run, this show?
Why not? Because at the end of the day, the one thing that we kind of all critiqued him for was the conditioning, mostly from the back. And also when he tends to get very conditioned, like he did the Olympia last year, he tends to lose it off his legs, because he sent me some videos and pictures like a few days out, and he says, no, look at my legs are full. And I was like, oh, here we go. You should have seen me yesterday. And his legs were really, really nice and full. So I think finally they've really started to get the formula right of getting that conditioning, because the big guys, you know what it's like, they can go flat within literally minutes. It tends to happen to the bigger, taller, heavier guys a lot more. So the balance of getting conditioning and fullness is he's getting there. He's making improvements. I mean, look at that. I mean, last year it was always like, look at that rear double bicep, but if only his glutes and his hams and his back had, everything was crisp and separated. But he's done it now. So he's getting that balance right. And so he's probably just thinking, do you know what? I'm going to see if I can, because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't like to say easy win, but it is going to be a pretty clear win for him, I think, this one. And if he's coming in more conditioned, it doesn't matter if, like you said, if he is a little bit flat. And even if he is, he can always try and fill out for the night show anyway. So it's good that he's trying different things. And to be honest, I mean, I'll say it here now, I think he can pull a Derek next year and just go on a win. Like when Ronnie won the Night of Champions in 98, and then that was it. He wasn't, well, I know he got beaten in 2002. But, I honestly, I'm putting it out there now. I think Andrew has what it takes to win Romania, Arnold UK, and the Olympia next year.
Woo! You heard it here first, guys. I mean, I won't say you're smoking crack, because that's a very likely scenario. There were a lot of people who genuinely felt he should have been Mr. Olympia this year. He was that good. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Arnold is going to be basically the Olympia Redux, Redux. I don't know how you pronounce that.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be the Olympia all over again. I foresee pretty much everybody from the Olympia, the top 10 guys in that show.
Who's missing? Because I know Derek said at the press conference, he said, "Look, I need to be a father now," because you can imagine he was prepping and competing all year, like for the Arnold, the Pittsburgh, and then the Olympia. It's like so he's probably. Also, I heard that Ronnie told me last week. He said that he spoke to Derek, and he said that Derek said at the finals he's got no memory of it.
Wow.
Yeah, he has no memory of it because I heard that I think he had people said he was fainting in backstage, but somebody did say, was it Chris Aceto said he did have a panic attack.
Right.
And I mean, I've had a panic attack, and I thought it was my heart. I rushed myself to hospital. It was only a few months after my incident, and at the time you don't know what's going on. It's very distressing. But he said he's like the finals. He said he struggles to remember anything about it. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. I don't know much about panic attacks. I'm sure I probably had a couple in my lifetime, but I didn't. The memory loss, I guess we call it a blackout when you have a time missing that you have no recollection of, but you were conscious at that time. Yeah, that's scary. That's frightening. So he has no memory of even winning the Olympia. It sounds like.
That's what Ronnie said, because I was when I picked Ronnie up at the airport, and we go because his luggage went to a different terminal. So me, him, and Susan and Ronnie had to go get them. And as Susan went to get the luggage, he says, I spoke to Derek. He said the finals. He said he says he has no memory of it. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because imagine the pressure and the stress, and then there's on the body, the mind. Because I think sometimes people say people who don't compete or never have competed, or let alone at like the Olympia level, I don't think people realize what really goes into it. Imagine there's so much riding on it. So the pressure these athletes put on them is immense, and I think sometimes I wish that was why people would be sometimes a little bit kinder, to the athletes, especially people like Derek, because you don't know what's going on backstage. Because at the end of the day, they get on stage and they have to act like everything's fine, and they have to present themselves, and they can't be showing any sort of distress. But a lot of these guys, they go, especially with diuretics and cutting water and all these different things. They go through a lot. So yeah. But what was I talking about with Andrew? How was that related to Andrew?
So, and Aceto also said, I guess, on Palumbo's Heavy Muscle Radio, he also wants to go out, take the season out on a very high note with another win, which, I think that's a good idea too. But it's not like he was lacking confidence from third place at the Olympia. That was a big step up for him, especially.
Yeah, he's leveled up. And thing is, like when he did FIBO, I know it was a last minute thing with him jumping in FIBO, but we saw like a fuller look there, which obviously wasn't. It was 80% conditioning, but it was still good enough to beat the likes of Sasan, who arguably aren't in at that level. Sasan's like he's Andrew's like a top 5, top 3 guy now. So even at 8%, but it just shows you if he can hold on to that fullness and get a little bit harder for next year, maybe puts on a little bit more size in the off season as well. I think you see where we're all seeing where this could be going now.
And look, he trains with Hadi Chupan. Kamalo. So is Kamal in Dubai? I don't understand how that's working.
That must be Florida.
Oh, so Andrew was there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I could ask Kamal, but I think it's when because he comes over a couple of weeks before Andrew. And why would he be in Florida? Unless Kamal was over in Vegas, before the Olympia. I don't know. But Kamal was doing quite a bit of training with him. And the thing is, Kamal's like old school, high volume. He trains hard. It's a lot of free weight, movements. He's kind of reintroducing the kind of training that I think he's actually lacking in the guys of today.
True. Well, I don't want to make. I even though he is the heavy favorite, and he's. Unless some awful thing happens between now and Sunday, he's got that show in the bag. But he is up against a really good youngster who you got to see up close in Prague. We're talking about. Let's try the name, Joan, because somebody in his town, a woman reached out to me who knows him and says, "These people telling you it's Joan and all that, they're full of shit. It's pronounced Joan." So you had a great look at this. Up and coming rising star. I call him a diamond in the rough. He's doing this will be his 4th show in a row because he did British Grand Prix, Prague, Poland Pro, and now Romania. So he's racking up a lot of stage experience in a very short time. But tell me what your impressions were of Joan.
He's getting better as well, because if you saw in Poland, he was better than he was at the at Prague. Because from the front and the side, I mean, I was blown away when he came out, because I thought he was going to be another one of these guys who's, I won't mention names, but one of those guys who's a good bodybuilder, but their popularity and following on social media is kind of bigger than their success, if that makes sense, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, the guys that are like real, like I mean, I don't think it's unfair to say like Regan, who's very popular on YouTube and Instagram, and is still a very good pro, but he's not like top 3 Olympia. I think that's fair to say. But mate, when he walked out in Prague, I was absolutely blown away, because he's young. I've been following him for the last few years, because obviously he's a European guy as well, so I get to see a lot of updates and I hear a lot about him. But I was thinking, and there was a couple of years ago, it looked like he was putting on a lot of size very quickly, and you know full well what that means. Sometimes, you know, their physiques can kind of they can kind of fall apart when they chase the size too much too soon.
Yeah.
But I was super impressed, mate. I think his front door bicep is up there with who would you say has got the best front door bicep? Because I like that Zagarella in the classic. I like Keone's front double bicep, but his front double bicep, because obviously that's the first pose, the first compulsory pose. I was like, holy shit, this kid leveled up. And I love the top line across his shoulders. He's got the beautiful wide clavicles. He's got a narrow waist. His waistline's good. His quads are nice and thick and separated. The only thing is he just needs more from the back. He needs more conditioning, separation, detail, and just a little bit more size and further improvements. But I tell you what, this kid, I know we're all going about Urs being like a top 5, top 3 Olympia guy in a couple of years, but I think he's some of these new guys like him and Vito, you know, these young guys that are coming up. I mean, 2-3 years, this could be like, you know, that 91 Nationals when we had Levrone, Wheeler, Ronnie, Paul DeMeo, and like 2-3 years later, they're the ones taking up the top 6 in Olympia. So I am super enthusiastic about this guy. And if he keeps improving and just keeps steadily doing what he's doing, I think we're going to have a major superstar on our hands in a couple of years. Did
Fuad say he predicted Joan will be Mr. Olympia within 5 years?
He did, yeah.
It's a bold statement. You know, not really. I mean, he has the potential, because again, the back is something that needs a lot of work, but he's young. He's got plenty of time to make that happen.
I wouldn't say he needs a lot of work. It's just that from the front and the side, he is good. Because the thing is, he's got thickness. He's got good amount of size. He's got a nice shape. Like when he walks out, it's like Samson when he walks out. Like you see all the best attributes of their physique literally as they walk out. And some physiques don't do that. Some physiques you have to see in actual poses before things start to happen. But when he walked out, the first impression for Joan was very, very impressive. And like I said, I thought a couple of years ago he was going to be good, but he's really jumping up now. And I think he's going to live up to the hype in this next couple of years, mate.
I mean, we'll talk about Prague later, but he held his own up there with Samson Dauda and Martin Fitzwater, who are a Mr. Olympia champion and a 4th place Mr. Olympia finalist. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive, I think. And
did you see I was trying to give a bit of love to Keone, because he wasn't moved in Prague. Yeah. He wasn't moved in Prague. And actually, Steve Weinberg gave me a bit of a telling off. We had a bit of a discussion. Because I went back to the table and then AJ said, Giles, Steve's looking for you. And I was like, oh, shit. So he said, Steve, to turn around, and he saw me, and he says, and he looked at me, and he looked kind of like disappointed. And he says, you don't like the way I judge, Giles? And I went, oh, and he went like that, come here, like that. So I went up to him and I said, look, and I basically laid it out. And I said, no, I said, it's not that, Steve. I said, it's just the fact that he was kind of left there. And I felt like he deserved to be compared against Joan and Krizo. And he was like, oh, okay, I get it. Okay. He said, yeah, it's fair enough. He says, but from the pre-judging, he just wasn't really, he didn't feel that Keone was good enough to even to be compared right directly to Joan. And then I said, yeah, but I said, is there any way that he could move up? Because it looked like Joan was in 4th place.
Yeah, I had him.
I said, but I was kind of hoping that Keone would get the 4th. And then Steve said, he says, well, as you know, Giles, he says, from today and tomorrow, anything can happen. And it did.
That's what did happen. He moved up. He got past.
It did. Yeah, it did. So yeah, it was good. It was an exciting show over the 2 days as well. But apparently that's the last time they're going to do that.
Oh, good. Yeah, the 2-day format. Come on, it's wearing on everybody.
And also, I spoke to one of the judges the next morning after the show at breakfast, and she was really, really impressed with how Martin managed to hold his peak over the 2 days. She said that is very, very rare. I judge shows, amateur and pro, all over the world. She said the fact that Martin managed to hold that peak as beautifully on day 2 as he did on day 1, she said that hardly ever happens.
I just want to talk about a couple more guys doing Romania before we move on, because I do want to talk more about Prague. Because, like I said, you went right from that into the tour with Ronnie, so we really haven't had a chance to speak at all. So, Fabricio Moreira from Brazil is the front runner for this 212 division in Romania. He was the Tampa Pro winner this year. I know he's been top 5 in the Olympia on at least one occasion. And you Fabricio fans can correct me in the comments and tell me exactly how well he's placed. I know he's a very, very top 212 guy. He's one of the top Olympians, but look at that. I mean, just, Mike Cox says he's 5'2" on a good day, but built like a tank, which, kind of like that Angel Calderon Frias.
He's one of those guys that for many, many years, like you just see him and he's absolutely huge. I mean, I remember, I think he's done some American shows like Tampa or Chicago. When you're doing the photos, they're coming into the group chat. And he's one of those guys that I thought, is this guy ever going to get it together? Because I don't even know when he was not in top condition how he even made 212, because he's got that much muscle. And then I forget, I'll have to really think hard about which show it was. It was a couple of years ago. And then finally he started to nail the conditions. I remember Miguel saying on the group chat once, he says he really struggles to get condition, but and then it happened, and I think he's managed to nail it a few times now, which is impressive, because it's really, I hate it when you see these guys that have got amazing physiques, tons of muscle, and they just seem to keep missing the mark. But he's really started to nail it now. I really, really rate this guy.
Yeah, we've said this before, but condition is the one thing that's I don't want to downplay it and say it's so easy. It's not easy to get your glutes shredded and so forth, but if you're missing a whole body part or you need like another 20 pounds of size, those are things that might never happen. Maybe you have genetic limitation, but I do believe anybody, if they find the right formula, maybe they need a different coach to work with them, anybody can finally get that conditioning. And I'm with you. When I see someone that's all they're missing is conditioning, because they have everything else. And that's not easy.
Biecki, Samir Trudy, and the thing is, it frustrates me because and especially when those short guys have that much muscle, if they're not in condition, and even if they're only a couple of % off, they just look like a big block, And the thing is, he's got so much muscle in his legs. If they're not separated, they just look like blobs. So he's look at him there. I mean, he is bloody impressive, man.
Yeah,
so impressive. I like that Zagarella as well. I think I really rate him, the Italian.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm not that impressed with Nexzilla, his giant quads. If they were deeply separated, striated and feathered, I'd be the first one saying, wow. But when they're just kind of blobs with very little detail and separation, I'm like,
And another thing is that Nexzilla, when he's in his side shots, looks in good condition. So, because I think he's got the best side tricep in bodybuilding right now, even better than Hunter's. Yeah. So, but from the side, his conditioning, some of the photos you see looks amazing, but when he turns to the front and the side, it's so disappointing. So, you need to drop 15 pounds off, mate, at least.
All right. Well, I'm only going to go through one other guy. So, I apologize if you feel I misled you guys thinking it was a full Romania preview. I'm only going to touch on a few of the top because we got another amazing Olympian in this. We're talking about Josema. Jose Manuel Munoz. I can pronounce Jose, that no problem. I've seen that name many times before. Again, why? What's the benefit of jumping in? Well, here he qualifies for the 2026 Olympia. There's another guy, Richard Nagy from Hungary, who's very good too.
Ooh, but very good. I like him.
I mean, I guess we'll look at him in a second to see if you think he's got a chance. But Josema he's world class. I mean, the only people that beat him this year were the top 3. It was come on, Ron. Ramon Dino, Mike Summerfield, and Terrence, and then it was him. So he's still only 24 years old. And the conditioning, talk about someone who figured out conditioning. Every picture I've ever seen of him, he's shredded beyond belief. Once he's on stage, even his off season is better than most people's stage condition.
You just beat me to it. I'm wondering if I'd love to see like a random sort of off season, because I bet even in the off season, he just goes bigger. Because the thing is with him, he's an open guy. I mean, I know he did that one open show. It was the Emperor or whatever, or the big man, and he got fourth. So he's one of those guys that probably just puts on muscle in the off season. He probably just looks like he could step on stage as an open in the off season. So, I mean, I imagine that guy is checking the scale a lot, because you can see that. I mean, I'd love to see him. I think is if you're doing well, you're making top 5 in this like Olympia, what's the benefit to even going doing an open show in the off season? I mean, he could do one like 6 to 8 weeks out and still probably be 10, 15 pound. I mean, I'm guessing than he would be if he was competing in.
Yeah, I mean, who was Fabian Mayer had to jump in open?
There's a guy that could successfully do both through the season, and like I said, do well in both.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good comparison he put up from last year's Olympia to this year. He definitely put some tissue on, as we say, which it must be getting harder and harder for him to make that weight for Classic, because geez, look at that. He's a big dude. Yeah, so as a conditioned snob,
I mean that 2025. I mean, he looks like he doesn't even look like a guy that's squeezed down into the Classic. He looks like a legit open guy there with the kind of size that could do well in an open show. Yeah, especially with that condition, mate.
Yeah, he's got really nice shape. So take a real quick look at Nagy, because he's no slouch. I don't know if he has the capability of beating Josema. It's not going to be easy. The odds are stacked against him in a way, on paper anyway. But he looks really good. So actually, he's defending the title. He is last year's winner of Romania Muscle Fest Classic Physique, Richard Nagy. And look, he's another one who gets in condition. Look at that. Very impressive.
I really rate Richard Nagy. I like his physique. I think he's one of the guys that's never talked about in the Olympia in the run-up, but he always makes like top 15, top 10. I'm sure he's been 8th or 9th in my head. I might be incorrect there, but he's always up there. And like I said, he's one of these guys that, and he's won lots and lots of pro shows. I mean, I think he won 3 or 4 in one season, because he won in Hungary last year when I was doing the live stream, the commentary, and very, very pleasing physique, very, very classic conditioning, balance, symmetry. And when you see him in the flesh, he is super, super impressive.
Cool. So that's it. Let's talk a little bit about Prague, because you had the best seat in the house, I would say, or one of the best seats in the house. First of all, we didn't even get to talk about Samson and his bid to reclaim all the size that he had lost for the Olympia. So in your estimation, if 2024 Olympia was 100% Samson and 2025 Olympia was 80% Samson, what percentage Samson doubted did we see in Prague next to Martin here?
92.
Okay. Yeah.
Honestly, Ron, I wasn't expecting him to make those kinds of improvements in only 2 weeks. I knew that we weren't going to magically see the 2024 version, because to go from 305 that he was at Olympia reportedly last year to 280 this year on stage, I knew that he could probably reclaim sort of, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 pounds, which on a guy that size is nothing. But he looked pretty much 90. I would say 90% of which I think in 2 weeks was bloody impressive. I spoke to one of the judges on the breakfast on the day after the show, and she says, Ildiko from Hungary, she said Samson was so much better than Olympia, so much improved. The only thing that didn't come back like it almost was when he won last year was the back. She said that was the only thing that kind of didn't return, which I kind of expected. But mate, he looked really, really good. And on day one, I mean, if you watch the live stream, you can hear my commentary live, so you can go and check. I literally couldn't decide between Martin and Samson. But day two, it's weird because on day two, he came out for his posing routine full as a house. I mean, he must have timed his food and his pump up perfectly, because he came out and his routine was beautiful. Almost to the level of when he won the Olympia last year, because that routine for me was one of the best routines I've seen in the last 20 years. I mean, it was amazing. It was like how everyone posed in the 80s and 90s. It was just the lion routine that was beautiful. But and then when he came out, probably just a matter of 20, 30 minutes later, Martin just managed to hold his peak, because like from Saturday and the Sunday, he was rock hard. I mean, Martin was rock hard. He was full. He was separated. And Samson, right at the last hurdle, kind of just flattened out, and he was sweating. And then Martin just kind of just managed to just pull ahead just at the last minute. You know, when you see these sprint, these 400-meter runners, and they like go from sixth to, and the last sort of 50, 100 yards, they just managed to pull ahead, and that's exactly what he did. But Samson looked bloody good, mind. He looked really, really good. He didn't, and I was worried that he was going to try and overcompensate and eat too much and then get a bloated stomach, but he didn't. He looked really, really good, mate. He looked fantastic. The only thing was just the back shots. And in fact, if you actually watch the live stream, I kind of went, holy shit! I can't believe that Martin's rear double bicep is really quite handily beating Samson's, because that's the back shots are normally like two very strong shots for Samson. And Martin, even though he's got a really good rear lat spread, his rear double bicep for me was the only weak shot that I felt he had. But when he actually went to AJ, I said, holy shit! I said, Martin's rear double bicep. I actually said to Stefan backstage, I said, how did you manage that? I said, because you've taken his only, not the weak shot, but the only shot I personally didn't like. I felt like it lacked separation and detail. And I said, you've taken it, and it's actually one of his strongest shots now. So Martin doesn't actually have a weak compulsory pose anymore. He was separated, detailed, full. I mean, to be honest, I said to Stefan, I shook his hand, I said, mate, I said, you peaked that guy absolutely perfectly. I said, fair play to you. And like I said, Ildiko, the judge, said, she goes, that is such a rarity that we see bodybuilders hold their peak over 2 days that well, because he just maintained it. I know he's like a Mr. Saturday night, but I was thinking when I saw him on the pre-judging on was it the Friday night? Or the Saturday night, I was like, is he going to be able to maintain it? Whereas I know that Samson can get better on the second day. But Martin came out on the second day and he looked every bit as good. So look at this real bicep. He never had that before. The separation and the shoulders, the back. I mean, he took his conditioning to a whole new level. And in fact, I think this was an even better version that we saw at the Olympia this year.
I agree. And that also begs the question. Samson beat him at the Olympia, 4th versus 5th. And Martin was better here.
Well, I had that the other way. I had that the other way around at the Olympia.
Yeah, I mean, after this show, I think a lot of people were of the mind that Martin should have beat Samson at the Olympia, for sure, because he beat a much better version of Samson here. So if Samson was much worse at the Olympia, wouldn't you think it just makes logical sense that he should have beat him back at the Olympia? Well,
but when you see Jay Cutler in 2013, when he came back and got like 6th, sometimes I know they did it to Ramy when they knocked him down to 5th in 22, but if that had been Ramy's first Olympia, would he have got 5th? I don't think so. I think he'd have been like 8th to 10th. Sometimes they will knock a champ down, but they won't knock him down maybe as far as really is really fair. So, I mean, the thing is, I don't know whether Nick would have beaten even an off Samson, like a smaller Samson that he saw at the Olympia. I don't know, but I think this was kind of like a double victory for Martin, because he managed to kind of beat Samson, because he deserved to at the Olympia, but kind of obviously got the win as well. But the fact that he managed to do that and really convincingly, because it was close. I mean, honestly, on the pre-judging, I just kept saying to AJ, I don't know. I said, you've got the taller, wider, more sort of imposing structure of Samson, the beautiful aesthetics. He is better in the Olympia, but you've got Martin, who's shorter and not really missing anything, doesn't really have a weak pose. I mean, my eyes are just drawn to Martin straight away. Yeah. But fair play, because the conditioning on Martin was just, and it wasn't just the condition, it was the fullness, like the muscle hard and deep and separated. It looked effortless, So I think this was a really, really big win for Martin here, because it's he beat probably the Samson that we all hoped and wanted to see at the Olympia. So his confidence is going to be going to another level now. So I'm really, really happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, even 2 years ago, if you had suggested to me, well, Martin Fitzwater could be a future Mr. Olympia, I'd be like, nah, come on, guys, don't be ridiculous. He's good, but a future Mr. Olympia. And now I could see him as one of the people who has that capability. He has that potential. I was very impressed by the fullness, even just standing
2
here.
Years ago, he didn't.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Ron, last year, he didn't even get the invite to the Arnold.
You're right.
That was last year. So that shows you how much he's improved. I mean, I'll be honest. I had him third place at the Olympia last year over Derek, 100%.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, I actually had Bonac beating him. So he was off there. And, but he came to the Olympia. I had him solid fourth over Samson. And here he got the win, and it was well-deserved. But like I said, this was a neck-and-neck race until, and I would say it was really decided in that final round of posing when they brought them out at the finals together. And Samson just literally in that last sort of hour or whatever it was, he kind of just flattened out as the big guys can. And Martin just, like I said, he managed to maintain that peak beautifully. The thing is, do you think it makes a difference having like your coach physically there? Because Stefan's with these guys 24/7. He's like Neil Hill. Like he wants his guys. Remember I told you had Zach Khan in his room on a mattress. He didn't want to take his eyes off him. Literally, it's like, I want to make sure I'm watching your physique change, every minute of every day. I don't want you out of my sight. And I think, do you think that makes a difference? Because Stefan really wanted this one as much as he wanted it for Martin. And I think maybe it makes a difference. I know obviously Samson had Marlena there, who obviously coaches him, but look, I mean, every picture and video I've seen of Martin, he just held it, mate. I mean, like I said, Ildiko said that hardly ever happens.
You know how Bob Chick has that famous cliche, you had to be there. Contests look different up close. I think a physique looks different when you're standing 2 or 3 feet away from it. And a coach can see things in person that maybe even with the greatest iPhone and FaceTiming capabilities, you're not going to be able to catch. And I think just the reassurance of having the coach physically there with you has a calming effect, gives you that confidence. And Martin's confidence was through the roof. He was just bursting with confidence at this show. Every time you see him on stage, it was clear that he knew he was the winner, and he was carrying that winner's aura and attitude the whole time. So yeah, I think Stefan being there did help.
And also, unless Nick does something drastic with that waistline, which can be done, as we saw with Rulli in 2016, I don't see Nick ever beating Martin unless he makes some drastic changes. Because I think Martin now, and it's not just how his physique's improving, it's how his confidence and self-belief is going to be. It's going to be more reinforced because he's, like I said, he's not just won a post-Olympia show, but he beat and improved Samson that, was Mr. Olympia, and was. Like I said, it shows you there's very little separating these guys now as well. There's no really dominating champion that it's like, okay, then who's getting second?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he sticks with Boss, even there are other people, not necessarily Nick, but other people who jump every time they don't place as well at a show as they want to. They hop to another coach. And Outlaw, he's a great coach, but I think staying with that one coach, letting that coach learn, and maybe making a couple mistakes along the way, so you learn, okay, this doesn't work. We'll never do that again. And, things that do work, you try to replicate that again. But you need time. You need a few shows in a row to really do that. And Martin and Stefan seem to be a really good partnership.
He didn't drop Martin. Martin didn't drop Stefan after Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh was not. I mean, I think he was lucky to get where he got, to be honest, because he was off. But it just shows you that, like you said, like exactly what you've said there, Ron, just you get one bad result and then you blame everything on the coach. It shows you that because like Martin really dusted, like Derek did last year when he lost the Olympia, he really dusted himself off and just got to work. So, I mean, because like I said, this was a pretty clear win, I think, and to do that whilst beating a Samson that was better than when he did the Olympia, and who also beat Martin at the Olympia a couple of weeks before, was a huge feather in his cap. So he's now, I can't imagine how Martin's going to be feeling right now. He must be absolutely buzzing. But I wonder if did he say he's doing the Arnold or? I've
heard that he's doing it.
Okay, well,
I never know if anyone's actually saying these things unless I hear it out of their mouth, but I do hear he's doing it. But let's talk about Krizo for a second, because he managed to place third. I mean, his major flaw to me is that waist from the front. It's just thick, but good Lord, the conditioning, the overall mass. This is probably the best Krizo I think I've ever seen. You've seen him in person a few times now. What do you think?
Oh, he looks amazing. I'll be honest, on day one, he was rock hard, but he was very, very, very flat. So after everyone was like, going crazy because he's a home favorite, and and everyone loves Krizo. I love Krizo, so I was going nuts. Yeah. And then after, when the prejudging finished, George Farrer, his coach, obviously was there. He came over and he was all happy, and I didn't want to put a downer on it, but I said, he said, "Oh yeah, Krizo looks better, best he's ever been." And I said, "Yeah, but mate, he's really flat. You've got to try and fill him out." And he kind of he looked a bit like pissed off, and then he was like, "Yeah, I think you're right. You're right." So the next day, Krizo came in bursting full. And I spoke to Krizo at the after party back at the owner's house, the EVLS owner's house. And I spoke to him and I said, "Mate," I said, "fantastic." I said, "That's the best package I've ever seen." I said, "You filled out beautifully." I said, "Because I'll be honest, I was worried day one, on the Saturday night." I said, "Because you were very, very flat." And he said, "Apparently because they were late on stage." You remember about 2 or 3 hours late on stage because the amateur show was that big, it ran over. And he said, "I only had enough food." He said, and I was basically timing it so I'd be on stage at this time, but I ended up going on stage 2 or 3 hours later. He said, "I just flattened out," because we spoke about this before, like Rami in 22, obviously when they're on stage hours late, it seems to affect the taller, heavier, bigger guys more. Whereas that was the year that Hadi and Derek came top 2, and it seems to affect the shorter guys less. So if shows are running late and running over, you can guarantee that the tall, big, heavy guys are the ones that are going to suffer the most. And to be honest, like when he was doing his front relaxed on the Saturday night, I was like, I couldn't look because he looked so flat. And then he came out at the final I'm getting days mixed up, on the Sunday. And it was like, as soon as he walked out, I went, holy shit, George has filled him out beautifully. And he looked this was by far the best Krizo I've ever seen. As you know, I'm a huge, huge Krizo fan. But and also not just the size of him, but the separation, the detail, and he is getting better, mate. He's getting a lot better. He was brilliant, mate. And some people had him beating Samson, which I don't personally, because maybe because obviously Krizo's conditioning was superior to Samson's, but Samson, you're gonna have a hard time, even if Samson's only at 90% and Krizo's at 100%. Samson's shape and symmetry is a lot better than Samson. Although in that shot there, that readable bicep, my eyes are kind of drawn to Krizo there. What do you think?
Yeah, when you can't see, because from the back, his waist width doesn't seem to be as much of a factor. It's really only the front. To me, his front relaxed, his front double bicep, to a lesser extent, his front lat spreads is where the wide waist is evident. But in other shot, most muscular shot, he beats everybody in that shot.
And also a Krizo, I remember when he did that. He won the Prague show in 22 in his pro debut, and his posing was clunky, his conditioning was okay, his posing was the tan and everything, the color, and he really does listen to critique because he manages to listen, take it on board, and he does really, really improve. He really fixes things. So it shows you that he pays a lot of attention to feedback, which is smart, which shows you that there's a guy that can listen, can take it on board, and can actually do what he needs to do to improve. Because I think because obviously his shoulder's fixed now, he's had the surgery. Like his readable bicep didn't look. It was 1 or 2 times he hit it, and it still looked a bit awkward. But most of the times he hit it, he hit it beautifully, bang on. So a lot of people at the show were commenting on how much his posing had improved. But now we just need to get Andrew's side poses sorted because a lot of people are commenting on that as well.
All right, let's talk about Keone. So Keone, this was a very highly anticipated open debut. Going into the show, I was thinking maybe he could win this thing because he does have an incredible physique, the shape, the structure. He's got plenty of size. Things didn't go that way. So, you and everyone else, we were all eager to see how he would look with a few extra pounds of fullness. How did you rate Keone Pearson's first open show?
Well, apparently he said it himself that he was bang on 212 like he was at the Olympia. So there wasn't like a fuller, different version. I think maybe, I don't know what you think, but I think the general consensus was that he was even better than he was at the Olympia here. Because the waistline, because I know there was something happening with his stomach at the Olympia that people didn't really say, they didn't really mention it as much at this show. And I think if my eyes are drawn to the imperfections, not the perfections like the judges, they're looking for they're looking for the flaws, because all these guys are great. They've all got great body parts and great poses, but they're looking for reasons to basically place somebody else ahead of him. I thought he looked absolutely fantastic, and I hope he appreciates the fact that I got a telling off from Big Steve. Yeah, because like Steve was pissed off, man, and I was like, come on, are you sure that he's not capable of placing higher than fifth? Because you could see in the compulsories that they're doing the rounds of judging, and he's like, his confidence just went, it just deflated the more that he was just left in that same spot. And I felt really bad for him. And I was going #justice for Keone, and then of course people are online causing shit, because that's what's basically me and Steve sort of like settled it on. I said, oh, you've been reading the comments? He said, yeah, I have, Giles. And I said, well, you know what people can be like. And he went, oh, tell me about it. And he said, okay, well, he said, I understand your point of view, and I'm glad you understand mine. I said, look, Steve, I'm not trying to upset you, mate. I said, I was just really disappointed, maybe just for the fans and the crowd, that we wanted to see him next to Pradells, because and Krizo, because the crowd would have gone absolutely crazy. But Steve was like, no, I've got him basically insinuating that he had him a solid fifth. But then obviously I said to Steve, I said, well, what can happen? What can happen tomorrow? And he said, well, as you know, Giles, anything can happen. So I thought Keone did himself proud here. I thought it looked absolutely fantastic, and he definitely held his own. And I'm glad he placed where he did.
So moving forward, if you were his advisor or manager, would you encourage him to do more open shows, or just stick to 212?
Do both.
Okay.
Like Clarita did, because he can realistically. I mean, the guy could win probably 5 212 Olympias at minimum. I mean, maybe if he wants to go for the record, I don't know whether he wants to stay in that category as long. But I think he should just keep his options open and just look at Krizo there, hitting that real bicep, beautiful. I think he should just do both. I mean, because like I said, I don't think there's anyone to touch him in the 212 right now. But I think he could definitely pick up a few open wins along the way for sure.
So he would have won. He would have won a lot of open shows earlier this year that I've seen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the lineups. I mean, but he doesn't want. I don't think he wants to enter a smaller show that's not going to really advance his career or impress anybody. If you win, I'm not going to mention any particular show, but if you win a show with a weak lineup as a 212 doing open, it's not really proving it. That's not proving you're one of the best bodybuilders in the world. It just proves that you're beating a bunch of lesser open guys.
True. And that's why it was good that he jumped into a show like this that was ultra competitive. You had the Mr. Olympia, you got the fifth place guy from the Olympia. I think it was a brave move, and I didn't have him coming in and winning this by any stretch of the imagination. But also there was comments on his legs. Steve said to me about his legs, and I'm like, his legs look pretty good to me. But he said when stood next to open guys, he said it looks like that's someone who needs more legs. I think he just needs a bit more chest, because I think he's very delt dominant. But it was overall, I think it was a fantastic showing for Keone, and I'm really, really excited, and I'm really glad that he did do the show, because like just the general feeling and chatter and hype around the show, a lot of people were talking about Keone. Oh,
100%. And I don't think he disappointed anybody. He brought a great package over there.
Good posing.
He's still a fantastic world-class open bodybuilder. Just because he didn't win this doesn't.
And I feel like I deserve a basket of muffins for taking the heat off Big Steve, because that's quite scary when Steve comes in. But it was funny. It was funny because a few people around were going, "Oh shit, this is bad." So I went up to him, and like literally within 2 minutes we were shaking hands and laughing about it, sort of thing, and like, okay, fair enough, I understand. It's and then we just kind of we came together on our mutual understanding of how people can just stir shit online.
Fair enough. Now you also got to see Rough Diesel. Terrence Ruffin made his way over there to Prague, which I was a little surprised. He's also qualified for next year's Olympia. Did not need to do this, but it's always a treat. This is one guy. If I ever was at a show and I missed his routine, I would be very, very upset about that. And I heard this was a pose for pose replication of a Sean Ray routine.
No.
Okay.
Where'd you get that from? Keone's routine was the license to kill, but it wasn't pose for pose, but there was a lot of similarity. You could see he'd looked at it and added a few of his own poses, but that was Keone, not Terrence.
Okay, gotcha. See how easily I get mixed up. So anyway,
It was me that suggested Terence to do it. So I messaged him and he said, because he was doing, was it Mexico or Brazil he did?
Brazil.
Yeah, he did Brazil, because there was 2 shows. I keep getting them mixed up. He said, are you going to be there? I said, of course, I'm doing the commentary, mate. And he said, so within an hour, I messaged Peter, the promoter, the CEO, and then he messaged him. They spoke directly, and then within 45 minutes or something, Peter says, "Yep, we've got a deal. He's coming over." So I was really, really happy because I knew that once he hit that posing routine, it was going to be something special. But the thing is, they faded his music after 1 minute, and it's like I think it's a 3-minute posing routine. And then when he won, I was hoping. I think I said on the live stream, I can't remember exactly. I was like, I hope he gets to do his routine. And then the MC went, okay, now you've won. I think we all want to see. I think we're going to make an exception. We're going to let you redo, but do the full routine. And then when it got to the point where his music was cut last time, you could hear the music being faded. And then Terence went, no, like that. He kind of, broke character out of his posing routine. He went, no, keep it going. He kept it going. And my God, mate, I'll be honest. I mean, it gave me shivers, that posing routine. And you know me, I'm a conditioning and a posing snob, so I have high standards for both because I started following the sport in 1990 and watching all the 80s posing routines. But this, I honestly, I think there's an argument for him going down as not just one of the greatest posers, but I think the greatest poser of all time. I told him this at the after party afterwards, and he was like, "Whoa!" And I went, "I'm serious, mate. I've seen great posers, but like what he put into that full routine, if you really watch it and analyze it and watch the transitions and the hands, the face, it was like watching, like interpretive dance, like that kind of like the top level. I remember we went to see it was called Phoenix. It's like one of the top, one of the world's top, like sort of interpretive dance, that kind of, what's the interpretive dance? There's another word for it. And it was that level of execution and that level of professionalism. And I'm telling you what, to see that in the flesh on stage, it's like it's not just, you're not just watching something, you're actually experiencing something. It was quite unbelievable, actually. I will say that.
I mean, I'm trying to think of, I've seen some amazing posers over all those years. Lee Labrada, Bob Paris. I've seen all the videos of Frank Zane, even going Muhammad Makawe, Ed Corney, all these people who are talked about in that conversation as the best posers of all time. And I can't say that any one of them is better than Terence. And Terence, you could make a very valid argument that he is the best poser of all time.
I mean, if you watch like just what we're watching now, where he's just doing, this is a 60 seconds. It's amazing. It's great. It's beautifully done. You can see he's put a lot of effort into it. He doesn't relax any body parts. You could take a photographer, because I was a photographer. You could take a photo at any point, and it's the stomach's not hanging out or he's not pulling face. It's like every single second that guy is on stage, it's like watching living art. It really, really is. And I'm telling you what, when you experience it and you feel it, like I was actually emotional. I was starting to well up because it was just to see something and to experience that because the place was sold out and there's a couple of thousand people in there. To see it, like everyone was just like, oh, it was absolutely breathtaking. Like probably like when Ronnie walked out in 2003 and everyone was just like, holy shit, we're kind of witnessing something pretty special here. That's how it felt to me. And I think how it felt to a lot of people because it was mind blowing. Yeah.
So good on him. All right. Well, that is glad you had a great time over there. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about what happened right after.
One thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mention the UK 212 guy, Yinka.
Oh, who's that?
This guy there. The post there, the first post next to Dennis Wolf at the top.
Going back to the Prague.
No. Just on this one. There, the guy pulling this sign. There, right in front of you.
Oh,
right there you go. Yeah, this guy here. This is the British 212. He's done 2 shows already this year. He had a really bad guy. Now we had it operated on. I'm telling you, Ron, I'm telling you, mate, this guy is something special. He was 195.
Wow.
And he was probably one of the smallest in the top 5, but he was the clear winner. Everyone could see it. 195, he's got 17 pounds before he reaches the limit. I had him training with Andrew Jack at one of the gyms I did the on the tour last year with Andrew, last November. I'm telling you, mate, 17 pounds to play with. Couple of years. I mean, he's qualified for the Olympia now, but I think he'll be top 10 next year. But imagine him Like you look at, like, it reminds me of like Samson a few years ago, where you look at and you think everything's there, he just needs more size. And if he was 212 at that, I'd be like, oh, mate, you're going to do okay, but you're not going to be,
right.
You know, you're not going to go to the very top. But someone who looks that good, winning shows at 195, beating guys a lot thicker. I'm telling you, every body part, every pose. Go to the if you go to the photos I posted, there's some black and white shots from the back. He's so complete. Try and pick a fault on him, apart from just needs a little 5, 10, 15 pounds more size. Those black and white shots there, they are.
Wait,
nope,
on your page?
No, you went back. Go back.
Oh, on his page.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, mate, this kid's something special. They're black and white shots. There you go.
There we go. Wow.
Look at that. 195. Imagine that at the limit in a couple of years.
Oh, yeah, he's got everything.
I can't fault him. Look at that. And he's a really good poser. He's got it up here. He's got a good coach. But he reminds me, but basically everyone at the show was saying you remind of us like a 212 Samson, like say 2 or 3 years ago, where he was at that point.
Yeah.
So I know we've got a few. We've got Ryan Terry in the men's physique. We've got Ria Gale in the figure. We've got Shelley in the fitness. And obviously we had Samson's Mr. Olympia. I'm telling you, 2 more years. And I think he's going to be giving Clarida and Keone and Nihat absolute hell.
And I don't know that could possibly be a Nigerian name. I'm not really sure.
It is. Yeah, he moved over when he was 13. But he trains at, he came out with a meal with us the other night with Ronnie.
Oh, wow.
On the final night. But I've known him for a couple of years. But until he dieted down, I didn't realize how good he was. I told him.
I've never even heard of him. So thank you for bringing him to my attention.
Go back to my Instagram and you'll see the couple of slides of him training with Andrew. You'll see the difference between a 212 and an open. Go back to it. Yeah. Go up. The post you just went on, that one there, yeah? Go move the slides across.
212.
Hang on, look. Yeah. Hang on. There he is. That's keep going. That's Andrew training with him there. There's Andrew. Look. But look at the next one. Oh, next one.
Okay.
Look at this.
Wow. I mean,
that was last year. That was last November, right after the Olympia.
That's 6'2" versus 5'6", 5'5", or 5'6", maybe.
Yeah, I think he's 5'6".
Yeah. Andrew's head doesn't even fit in the frame. He's so big. Goodness gracious.
It's like mine.
Okay. God, good on him. Thanks for bringing him to my attention.
Yeah, I tell you, mate, like sort of I can spot sort of future if he keeps improving. I said, mate, don't blow that. I told his coach, I said, mate, just don't blow that waistline. Keep those clean lines and keep doing what you're doing. I said, because if you keep improving, mate, you're just gonna. Because I think he'll be top 10 Olympic next year, but I think after that, I think he's gonna be a top 5, maybe even a top 3 guy in the next 2 years.
Right on. Tiger's good at sucking out the future talent. So there was a big dinner. Ronnie's wife,
Susan, Chris
is the partner on the tours. Lauren Lauder. Is that Ruffin?
No, that's Yinka.
It's Yinka. Terrence going to kill me. All right, and all right. Well, let's talk about the Ronnie tour.
Can I tell you a funny story about mistaken identity?
Please do.
On the first night on the Ronnie tour. Because when after the seminar and everyone queues up, and I like to just sort of mill about and just speak to people, because there's always a good vibe and everyone's excited and you just want to communicate, So yeah. I was walking up and there was this father and son, and they're this because they look very similar. And the kid was maybe, I don't know, 16, 17 or something, bright red hair. And he looked quite a shy kid. And he was holding a belt, and that was in Edinburgh last week. And he had a copy of Flex magazine in his hands. And he said, I said, oh, you got some stuff for Ronnie to sign. And he says, oh, do you think he'll sign it? I said, yeah, I'm sure he will. Just ask him. I'm sure he'd be happy to. And then I looked down and I said, you do know that's not Ronnie on the front cover. It was Eddie Abu.
Oh, wow.
And I had to walk away because I thought he was starting to cry.
Oh, my goodness.
He looked devastated. I was like, oh, this is awkward. So I had to walk away, bless him. Because I think he just started like he was mortified, mate. But it was, I don't think I even told Ronnie that, but that was quite, for my sense of humor, that was quite funny.
Wasn't there a caption on the cover or something? Or?
I don't know. I think Ronnie probably would have just signed it. He probably would have just laughed and signed it anyway. He probably would have told me in secret afterwards. He said, did you see I signed that magazine for that picture that wasn't me?
Boy, so here we go. This is the beginning of the representation tour. I think this is Bristol.
Yeah, I wasn't at that when I was in Prague.
Oh, wow. Ronnie did one.
Because what I did the first night in Western Supermare. the first one. And then that night I said, oh, by the way, Ronnie, I've got to go to Prague tomorrow. Wow. And I was really nervous about telling him because I had Chris there and I had, everybody, and Susan was there and all the flights and everything else was booked and taken care of. Chris had the full schedule and he went, okay. And then Susan came in, his wife, and she was like, yeah, no problem. We'll catch up with you in a couple of days. So I picked him up from the airport on Manchester on Monday because he had on the Tuesday because he had a day of rest in Ireland. And just rejoined the tour. So I missed the Irish one, which apparently was a really good one as well.
Where'd that throne come from? Or this chair?
Yeah, no, that was they was. I think they capped it. They sold all 200 tickets to that one.
Okay, I mean you don't bring that throne everywhere you go, do you?
No, strap it to the top of the car.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like it'd be. All right, so that was the first stop, and it was without a Giles.
That was second.
This is backstage at Prague. This stuff.
There's AJ.
All right. That's also backstage at Prague.
Yep.
Lauren, you finally got a good portrait I saw. I don't know if that's coming up.
Oh, later. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe how much slimmer AJ is in a good way.
He looks great, doesn't he? Looks great.
He was headed for a heart attack or something. I know I shouldn't looking at artifacts with you.
Also, there was a few comments on Instagram saying I was shushing AJ on the second day. No, but there was a reason because after day one, there's like a big production crew. There's like 5 people working all the cameras and the lighting, the DJ, the music, and everything. And there's one guy that controls the camera switching and also our audio. And apparently, when the MC talks, he has to pull our volume down and put his up. So he said, to mix it, I didn't realize they did this. He said, to mix it, he says, you have to stop talking and let them talk. Otherwise, he says, the audio kind of goes over each other. He says, so you've got to be really careful. So, of course, I did it a couple of times as well. And AJ sort of said, shh, Charles, he'd like point, off because there was no cameras on us. Yeah. And so a couple of times, where we're just kind of just getting caught up in the moment, we were kind of talking. And then I'd have to kind of give him a nudge or a kick under the table and say, like that. And a couple of times I did shush him. So people were thinking I was being rude and horrible to AJ. And I'm like, no, I said, because the producers told us, we've got to, sort of when the MC's talking, they want to have his audio over the live stream, obviously. Yeah. So a couple of times we slipped up, but I wasn't trying to be, mean.
Of course not. You're Giles. You wouldn't do that. So looks like he had a good time. Looks like he had a good job commentating.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
I mean, he's good with the women's divisions too, I guess. Which
Well, because in the morning on the Sunday morning, wasn't it? We had all the sheets, and I said, right, let's decide who's doing. He said, well, I want to do open with you, Giles. I want to do, I forget what other category, because we're supposed to get George Farah, but I couldn't get hold of him. So we literally write on the sheets, okay, Lauren and AJ, Giles and Lauren, AJ and Giles, and we basically just figured it out, and then we text each other, because AJ's either backstage or he's getting stuff for his Instagram or, so but we made it work and we were bang on, apart from when my chair collapsed.
You're too heavy, Giles.
No, it was when I was when AJ and Lauren were filming. There's like a VIP segment with all the tables right in front of the judges, and I sat on this chair, and then I just felt it, my leg just go crunch. So, and of course, everyone's behind me, a couple of thousand people, so they all saw, so they all laughed. So the only thing but luckily, the only thing that was bruised was my pride.
Here we go. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So this was Nebula Gorey in Wexford.
Yeah, I missed that one. That was a really good one, apparently.
It's another cool chair. These people all find really good seats for Ronnie, I got to say. But what a turnout. Everywhere he went had a really, really good turnout.
And to be honest, most of them were capped. Like they could have sold more. So we sold a ton of merchandise as well. So that's good. That'll pay the rent.
I saw that guy walking away with crutches. Did Ronnie cure him of like he couldn't walk, and then Ronnie did some faith healing on him?
No.
Okay. A younger fan. This is crazy to me that this kid wasn't even born when Ronnie retired. Not even close.
Do you know what, Ron, as well? Because obviously every single night, it's funny, I shouldn't say this really, but like the first tour I did with Ronnie, I think it was the first or the second one. I was on the phone to Lauren because I ring her every night, and she was a bit quiet, and I always know when something's up. And I said, "What's the matter, babe?" And she says, I'm just worried. I said, "What about?" She says, "All the Ronnie groupies." I just burst out laughing, and I said, "Do you know what, Lauren? I said, I've got Ronnie's crutches. I can fight them off if need be. I said, but you don't have to worry about Ronnie groupies and me going off and having orgies. I said, I'm sure me and Ronnie will be able to handle it.
I mean, Ronnie had his wife with him for one thing.
No, but my point was, sorry, that was a point. Apparently, like when I looked around, I would say the demographic is probably 80% 18 to 25-year-olds.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think they probably have heard of Ronnie Coleman, but the fact that they're fans and they paid money to come see him, that astonishes me. That's great.
And I'm sure this one was like the Irish ones. They're like €100 a ticket, like it's $100. It's like what, 100? That's more. And they, like I took Ronnie to Ireland last March, and they capped it at 100, and that was €100 per ticket, which is what, over $100.
Yeah, wow.
And that was all 18, like nearly 90% 18 to 23-year-olds, I would say, like young lads, the whole broccoli head crew.
So here's Stockport,
good one.
Positive Health and Nutrition.
Yeah, the cop car.
Oh, yeah, look at that. LAPD.
Yeah, it was LAPD food. It was like a food delivery service for like events. So because the guy said, let me know, because Lauren went in a taxi and I drove. And because we didn't have enough room, so they went separate. They got there before us. And then when I drove around the corner, I was like, is that a cop car? And like an American cop car. And Ronnie was like, what the hell? And I was like, because he said, give us 2 minutes notice when you tell us when you're a few minutes away. So they must have just turned all. Because apparently the police came over and said, look, you can't drive with those lights on.
Right.
That's illegal. If you park it and you're doing like a food event like this, because they were giving out pizza and all sorts. There was like a promotional thing, So. That was cool, man. That was so cool.
Yeah, Ronnie used to drive one of those.
Yeah, exactly. But look at that billboard. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah. These promoters really go all out.
It's a big deal having Ronnie there, mate. I mean, the love and respect he gets. And you know what? I'll say this now. This is why I won't take any ego, attitude, or anything off anyone in the industry, new legends, anything, because like I've done only 4 tours with Ronnie. I've worked with him. I've worked for him. I've done FIBO, Body Power. I've done podcasts with him, and he's always, as a fan, as a media guy, all the different things I've done with him, a tour manager, and I'm telling you, he's never ever been anything other than polite, respectful, kind, easy to work with. I mean, he's like the Ronnie you see, how he is with fans. That's how he actually is. That is Ronnie. And obviously having Susan there was, I've only met her like a couple of times, but she added so much fun and joy to that tour. Like we're all best friends now. I mean, she was so lovely, and also it was really lovely to see like their relationship. I saw another side to Ronnie, like his more personal side, and the love and respect those two have got for each other is it's something quite. It's like couple goals, when you see things you want to emulate, and I was like, wow, it was quite wonderful actually.
So who was watching their 32 kids back home?
yeah, they've and all the cats and everything. So
Ronnie Donuts, oh boy.
Yeah. and of course I kept saying good old to everything, and Ronnie kept laughing. But mate, he's in good spirits, man. He's in good because he's not back training for another 2 months because obviously he's lost a lot of weight there. I mean, I think Susan said he'd lost 43 or 48 pounds since he obviously before it went in, and he can't train. All he can do is cardio. He's like a stress test. He's got to do so many sessions. His heart's now, it was 20% when it happened because he said sepsis probably saved his life because it alerted him to the heart thing. Otherwise, he would have been in a situation because his heart was working like mine was, like 15, 20%. And then after the heart valve replacement, he's at 40%. And he reckons by the time he gets checked up, he reckons he'll be about 60%. And when he's at 80%, which that'll be him forever, they said he can start back training. So he said he's desperate to get back training, bless him.
Oh, I'm sure. That's someone who loves training like few people on this earth.
Yeah, he goes six days a week, and the only day he doesn't train is on Sunday when he goes to church.
That's right. You know what? I don't know if he still goes to the same church, but the one I went to 20 years ago, if they had a church like that in my town, I would go to church every Sunday. It was enormous. It had like a band with guitarists, drummers, and a choir. It was a great time. It was like a party.
Wow. Well, when I was 15, I went backpacking with my training partner. He was like 21. I went backpacking around the east coast of America and Canada in 1991. and we got an East Coast Amtrak train thing. And he was a born again Christian, and he had a church. So we went to church. I'm not religious, but we went to a church in Toronto, in downtown Toronto, and it was probably a couple of thousand people, and I think me and my friend James were the only white people in there. So I was 15, and I'm from a town where there's not even really any. There's just all white. There's no multi-race. Not like society is now today. And but it was incredible. I actually bought one of the tapes because it was that much fun.
Wow.
Hearing, and everyone's singing, and everyone was so welcoming. And so I was thinking, God, why isn't church like this in the UK? I think they'd probably be a bit more popular and probably pull bigger numbers, because it was just amazing. It was great. It was really joyful, very positive. It was about instilling values, and wasn't just like all the kind of fanatical religious stuff that I kind of switch off to.
Like, you're going to hell and give me all your money. Yeah.
And I didn't burst into flames when I walked in.
Of course not. So here was Original Fitness Kirkham.
Yeah, that was a nice one. That was the owner is a ex-professional boxer. That he does a lot of really these crazy charity events where he does tire flips for 24 hours and runs the length of the country with a backpack on, and he's really because I think there's something in I think one of his something he's got a special connection to this particular charity because of something that happened in his own life with his own family. I'm sure that's right. I remember it. Yeah, that was a good one.
That's Kirkham. So the next one was Performance Gym Irvine.
Yeah, that was up in just outside of Edinburgh. So we had to drive up to Scotland. That was like a 3-hour 20 drive. There's Big Chris. I don't know how he maintains the amount of muscle he does because his diet is absolute dog shit. I never seen him eat any protein. It's just sugar and carbs, and he's got veins on his triceps, and as you can see, he's a big guy.
I did not know that. Yeah. So Kirk. I didn't know there was an Irvine in Scotland because there's an Irvine in California. So now I know that's not the original.
That's about 40 minutes outside of Glasgow. This one, and that was a nice one as well. Really good, beautiful gym, as you can see. I mean, they didn't have gyms like that in my day back in Wales or Scotland. Back in those days, these kind of new gyms are some of the new gyms I'm seeing. By doing the tours, driving around the country. I mean, there's some really, really beautiful gyms opening up now, like real kind of like American style, But it was brilliant. We went to Edinburgh Castle as well. Ronnie liked that. Ronnie got a little Edinburgh beanie hat, and Susan got a load of stuff for the kids, and because her maiden name is Wilson, so she wanted to get all this family crest stuff because Scottish. Yeah. She's got Scottish blood, so Ronnie's kids have got some Scottish blood in them.
Well, I think my ancestry came up like 1% Scottish, so
1%,
like 1%. It was like Norwegian 1%. Swedish 1%, it's all these random 1% things, but that was cool. So Scotland, did he have any?
Isn't that clever how they can work that out?
I don't even know if it's accurate, but let's just assume it is, I guess. So that was Scotland. This was Edinburgh Castle.
That was in there's Edinburgh Castle because I was trying to find them because I had to go park the car, and trying to park in Edinburgh is just a nightmare. I mean, you may as well just get the train up. But I think, I found him at this point. But Ronnie had his hoodie up, and he didn't want to be recognized, so we were calling him Stephen. So Susan says, "This is Stephen, right, Giles? This is Stephen," and he was with his hoodie up because I think he just wanted to because there was a lot of people there. And the thing is, if one or two people spot him, it's like people just come from nowhere and everyone wants a picture, and then because we only had a couple of hours to spend there before we had to drive back to make the seminar for the Muscle Hut one in Glasgow.
Let's go. So I think this castle was built at least 200 years ago, if memory serves. It's very
old. And the rest. It's probably like I see. Oh, that was a cat cafe. Go back.
Cat cafe.
Yeah.
What?
We have quite a few of those in the UK now. There's basically you walk in and there's like a doorway because obviously they want all the cats getting out. It's like a rescue thing, and I think a lot of the money that they raise goes to like cat charities. So you can go in and there's all these like cat, those trees like I've got for my cats, and you can just basically have a coffee and then just chill. You have to take your shoes off and you can basically just pet all the cats. It's my kind of place, that mate. It's like my house.
I thought it was for people to bring their cats to.
No, it's just like a little rescue cats that they just have living like a complete life of luxury.
They need to do that with pit bulls. Who wouldn't want to go and be amongst a bunch of unleashed rescue kitten.
Yeah, all hungry, chewing your leg off. That burger as well. That Susan said that's the best burger she's ever had outside of America.
So here you were. This is still Muscle Hut. This is Muscle Hut Glasgow.
That was the busiest one.
Why is he dressed like a traffic cone? This guy.
It was Halloween.
Oh, okay.
He's the only one that dressed up. I felt really bad for him. And I saw him outside and he had his sunglasses on. I said, look, there's a traffic cone. He says, I'm keeping the streets safe.
Oh, boy. Yeah. I mean, I would go like as a vampire or something, not a
traffic cone. And then Ronnie said, come on in, traffic cone man.
There he is. Yeah. He definitely stands out.
But apparently this one, they capped it at 80 tickets. And then like it was when I did that one in Peterborough last year, word got out. And then they said, people were showing up saying, can we pay on the door? So I think they let about 230, 240 people in.
That's certainly more than 80 people, I can tell right there.
Yeah. Because I went to the toilet and there was like a first couple of rows of people were sat down. And then I came up in the toilet. I'm like, holy shit, where did all these people come from? And Ronnie was like, because he loves it, you know. Ronnie he's one of the people that, you know, some people say, oh, I love my fans. And you think, do you really? Like Ronnie genuinely, like, you know, Ronnie genuinely loves meeting his fans. And I watch him from the first one to the last one. And we went to Nando's and the other people that we ordered for went to a different Nando's. They got the wrong Nando's. So we literally got like enough food for probably 10 people. And there was like 4 of them. So like Ronnie took bags and bags full back to his room. I said, Ronnie, please keep taking bloody food, mate. It's going to go to waste. And you know me, for the very idea of me wasting Nando's is just sacrilege.
I've only had it twice when I was in Brisbane, Australia a couple of years ago, and it was so good, so good.
Susan's addicted now. That was her first time.
Strength Asylum is in. Where is Strength Asylum?
That's in Stoke. That was where Eddie Hall used to train. To be honest, they've been supportive of the tours right from day one. I took Phil Heath in 2019. I've took Ashley there, Ashley Coltwasser. I've taken Wesley Vessers, Andrew Jack, Terrence, and I've taken Ronnie there twice.
Wow. You know, the only reason I know Stoke is, you know, Slash, the guitarist for Guns N' Roses. Yep. He did a solo album, a live concert called Made in Stoke, because he was born in Stoke. And then they moved to the USA. I think his father's British. I'm not sure.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Cool. One of them is British.
Cool. Oh, you're going to see the Predator film. You're going to see that this weekend?
Oh, I don't know about this weekend, but I'll see it eventually.
Oh, yeah. I know. That looks really good.
I probably will. I mean, sometimes my son wants to go see usually he sees it with his friends and I'm not invited, but you never know. I'm not that cool. That was Chris Bumstead there. So this was also Muscle Hut Glasgow.
That was a good one. That's a good one. There's me chilling.
Do you say Glasgow or Glasgow?
Glasgow. That's what, because Branch Warren, I was taking the mick out of Branch, which I can get away with as well. So I've survived Steve Weinberger. I've taken the mick out of Branch Warren. I think I must have a death wish. No, I said to Branch in Sweden a few weeks ago, I said, Branch, it's Glasgow, not Glasgow. And he just laughed.
Ronnie has a shirt on that says Natty.
Yeah. He's with TLF clothing company now. He's not with Young LA anymore.
Oh, okay. There's Muscle Hut from the outside. That's a cool logo.
They've got I think there's 8 of them now, these Muscle Huts, and they've just opened one in Dubai, and apparently they're going to open another 2. So like it was only a few months ago. I think I took Andrew there. I took Ronnie to the one down south. I think they had 3 or 4, but now they've gone from 4 to 8. And do you know who that is?
Rhea Gale?
No. Look at the medal.
Look at the what?
A bit of a clue.
No, she won. I can't think of the name. It's a long name with a hyphen in it. Help me out.
This is Shelley that won the Fitness Olympia.
Shelley, what's her last name?
Mensa.
Isn't there another name with a hyphen attached to it?
Yeah, Shelley. It's Michelle something Mensa, but everyone just calls her Shelley. But Lauren arranged that one because FitX, they've been trying to level up, for the last few years, and they've had some names there, but not big names. So in May, the smaller one at the different venue, I forget where it was, somewhere in the Northwest, we took Terrence Ruffin. So that was a huge deal. And I said, look, I might. And then when the tour got rescheduled, I actually thought, well, I could put it on this week and then take him to FitX. So I spoke to Darren, the guy who's walking us in there, and he was like, oh, could you get Ronnie? I said, yeah. So we did the meet and greet. And we also managed to arrange Ryan Terry, Shelley, and Ronnie. So basically, we got 3 major names there: two current Olympia champions and Ronnie Coleman. So that was a huge deal for them. So, and that's something that me and Lauren pulled off, basically. So.
Wow, good job. So that was at the NEC in Birmingham.
Yeah,
that's where I was the first weekend I ever met you in real life. Remember?
2010.
Yeah. So that was Body Power Expo. This is not Body Power.
Mm-hmm.
This is Fit Expo.
Yeah, it was good. He's building it. In fact, I've just been talking to him today about who we're going to be taking in May, and we might be taking 4 big names. So I can't reveal yet because we haven't sorted it. But yeah, so he said, like Giles, he said, if you can make that happen, he says that's going to really help everything I'm doing. Ryan Terry said he's lightweight baby. Ryan said he's going to try and get some big sponsors like Gymshark that he's attached to, and and so because it helps these expos to grow. Because I spoke to Ryan, I saw him there, and he said, Giles, this is really good. We need to really help these guys. He said, because this is really good for the industry, for the bodybuilding industry. This was in the green room, and see the guy behind him, not the bald guy, but the big scary looking guy. That's Joe Egan. That's Mike Tyson's old sparring partner. There.
Oh wow!
He's a bit of a celebrity in the UK. He's kind of because he's a really lovely guy, real sort of old school gentleman, but not somebody you'd want to mess with.
No, I can tell by the face he's been punched in the face a lot.
Yeah, luckily we got on really well. So.
And he's got no neck. He's got like a 20-inch bull neck.
What cool guy though? What cool guy?
He certainly can't be a young man.
And also this was we managed to organize a podcast with Eddie Hall.
Wow.
For his channel, because we kind of cancelled it the last minute because Ronnie was tired, and we were like, okay, we're gonna have to drive an hour and 20 back to Stoke and an hour 20 back. So we managed to, because I was having a nap, and I managed to sort it out that they had enough equipment that they could come to us. So we managed to get it done, and it went on for 2 hours, and it was tell you what, guys, when it goes out, you've got to check it out, because there's stuff I heard about Ronnie that Ronnie talked about that I'd never ever heard about. So like different stories and stuff because I've read his book, I've done gazillion seminars with him, and I've known him for years. But this was awesome because Eddie Hall, man, he's a really good interview, and he really did a lot of research. So check it out on Eddie's YouTube channel because it was absolutely brilliant.
And this is Paul Knight and Tanya Knight, judges at Crayford Weights.
Yep.
So that was another stop. How many stops?
Friends of mine.
How many stops were there? 10?
10.
Wow. Good.
And the thing is, mate, our energy the whole time, because we made sure we kept a close eye on Ronnie. Like me and Susan, we were kind of like communicating the whole time, and we know the signs of when Ronnie's getting tired, because Ronnie will just keep going. He won't say, I'm tired, I'm out of here. He will literally, he's so giving to his fans and to everyone. Like, me and Susan had to sort of stay in close communication to make sure that, we didn't overdo it. We made sure he got enough sleep, and, we kept him fed, but, because he's not 100% yet. But I mean, and 10 stops, that's a big tour. We had 1 day of rest, and a lot of travel. So we had to really, really pay close attention to make sure that he was okay. So, but he was, and everyone was, because like normally on that kind of tour, even like day 7, day 8, I'm really starting to dip. But we made it work. And to be honest, Chris was amazing. Lauren was there for some of it. She was back at home as well, booking hotels and anything I needed to do. So like Ronnie messaged and he said, teamwork to make the dream work. Because with Ronnie, you'll always get like on the group chat. We had a group chat. Ronnie always sends like a really long, detailed, like really heartfelt sort of message. They'll say, and he'll, really, he's very thoughtful. And the thing with Ronnie, he appreciates the little things. He likes hospitality. He mentions hospitality a lot. He likes, he likes when you really pay close attention to the small things. Like Lauren gets little prezzies and little presents and stuff for him and gifts, and it really means the world to him actually, because he's a really special guy, Ronnie. I'll tell you that now. And the more I get to know him, even though I've known him so many years, the more amazing I realize he is. And also getting to know other elements of him through his interactions with his wife Susan, like to see the kind of love and respect they have for each other. It was quite amazing, actually.
I mean, you're with this guy day and night for like 8, 9, 10 days in a row. So every time.
Honestly, and the energy was good. The mood was good. Like no one fell out. No one had any. Like everyone was just so like everyone was in it together. It was everyone was so helpful. There was no There was no sort of divas there. There was nobody sort of, everyone kind of chipped in and did everything they needed to do because the full focus was on Ronnie and making sure he was okay and he was happy. And no, I got him on the amaretto coffees as well. That was good. Because I said, Ronnie, do you trust me? He went, I do. And I said, try an amaretto coffee. It's you'll love it.
Nice.
That's a lady that comes to every single one of my All-Star tours. She brought her husband and a child this time as well. It's just like I said, the whole thing is just, there's such a wave of positivity these tours bring. They're always they're like a joyous occasion. And I think there was extra appreciation because obviously people were so worried about Ronnie, and that to have him fly all that way over, it meant a lot to people. People would, like, the appreciation and the fact that people were so happy and so relieved that he was okay was just added an extra layer of positivity. That's all basically what I'm trying to say.
Well, I want to finish up with this amazing Joseph Alt portrait backstage of you and Lady Tiger. I hope you take my suggestion and get this printed and blown up and framed.
Yeah,
that's a great shot. If I had a picture like of me and Janet like this, dude, I would probably make t-shirts out. No, I don't have one like that.
They could have photoshopped my ears a bit, look a bit smaller. You
could do that. You know how to do that, don't you?
I'll tell you what. I haven't posted it yet. I probably shouldn't say. When Ronnie went to, because we're up in Scotland and it said Loch Lomond, and I'm thinking, well, Loch Ness is not too far. So there was a day on the Monday in Ireland when Ronnie and Susan went to like this beautiful like scenic park because they wanted to go out and see some sights. So the owner of Nebula Gym, Dave, took them out, and so there's a picture of Ronnie like sort of basically sat by this huge lake. So I said to Chris, can we basically post that it's actually Loch Ness? I said, can you Photoshop something in there? Yeah. And so basically photoshopped a thing of Nessie. So I think you might see that on Ronnie's Instagram very soon. Right, Ronnie spots the Loch Ness monster.
Well, I want to see that. I'm a huge fan of all cryptids: Bigfoot, Loch Ness, Mothman, you name it, Chupacabra. I believe in all that crazy dumb shit.
What's the also the alien ship Atlas 3i? That's supposed to you must have heard about it.
No.
The big comet that's coming, the alien ship.
No.
Come on, Ron. Do you even go on social media?
Yeah, but I don't. So there's an alien ship it's people believe
it's passing by the sun. It's passed by all the planets, and there's pictures of it. It says it's got flashing lights, and there's no exhaust or whatever. There's something. It's complete Avi Loeb. This guy, this scientist who got formed for bullshitting. He's basically had it's all over the American news, CNN and everything, and every day it's getting a little bit closer. And I think it's going to be like an Operation Bluebeam, like a government control thing. I love following it because I find the whole thing just so entertaining.
Well, I'll have to look into it now. Thanks for giving me more conspiracy theory, crazy crackpot stuff to look into.
3i Atlas. So in 52 days, everyone's getting A&E probed.
Okay, well, I'll be ready. I'll get the lube ready.
I can't shock you anymore, can I, Lauren?
No, alien probe. Yeah, that's old hat. You're gonna have to work a little harder.
Damn it! I will. Don't challenge me.
So I'm glad the tour went very, very well. I love Ronnie too, and it really. I know this sounds sappy, but it warms my heart. It gives me a good feeling to see that so many people, especially young people, come out and pay. It's not cheap. They pay to meet him, to talk to him, to take pictures with him, because Ronnie is a living legend, and talk about someone who's an ambassador who gives back. And I've only known a few guys, and I won't put them all on display here, but that really take the time for every single fan like that. There's not many of them in the industry. And
mate, Ronnie was. I remember like the 2001 Olympia, and that was the year that he wasn't well. Do you remember when he exhausted and stuff? So he was, and this was when the meet and greet was in between the judging and the night show. And I remember watching, and Marcus Rule, Jay Cutler, all Lou Ferrigno, all that lot, because he used to turn up to the Instagram pictures, and it all went. And Ronnie was there and you're thinking Ronnie's probably on stage in 3 hours. He could be saying, "No, I've got to go back to the room. I've got to eat. I've got to do this." And he was there till every fan, because that was the time I was trying to give him some photos I'd taken from the British Grand Prix in 2000, and I tried to give them to his family. And they said, "Oh, well, do you want Ronnie to sign?" I said, "No, they're for him. They're big 10x8s of photos I'd taken that I wanted him to have." So they went over, spoke to him. He got up and he walked over, and of course the whole line thinks I'm trying to push in. So I was getting real evil looks. And he came over and he said, "Hi, what's your name?" And I said, "My Giles." And he said, "Thank you so much for these pictures." I didn't expect him to do that. I just wanted him to have them. Yeah. I wasn't trying to interrupt or cut the line. And then he went back. He said, "What's your name?" Got me a signed picture. Came over again, shook my hand, and then rejoined. I mean, stuff like that. That's. He didn't know who I was. I was just, so stuff like that. It means a lot, But Ronnie did say, actually, because I was always worried that we would never be able to top that 6-country tour we did last summer. Because for me, I was like, shit, this was so good and so big. How am I going to top this? And Ronnie said, no, I think this one was even better. So that for me, especially with the stress I went through in the summer, with worrying about Ronnie and also the implications of all these people that had paid and all this, like, it's big money, Yeah. I had respiratory depression for a few weeks. I couldn't breathe. Like it's like you can't get your breath. Like it's induced by stress, and then that sets off my heart arrhythmia. And obviously with the heart thing, that panics me. So that'll give me sleepless nights. Wow. So the fact that we pulled it off, and it was so good, and the fact that Ronnie's okay, and it was just I woke up today feeling bloody relieved, happy, content, and excited for the next one now. So I've got Dennis Wolf, January, February. I'm working on Andrew Jack after the RGK. I'm pulling that together as well. And Andrew says, Giles, I love doing the tours with you so much. He says, what did he say? 5, 10, 15 stops. I don't care. Line them up. I love it. Wow. So the hard work is starting to pay off now. The other athletes are starting to see, and the athletes, they all talk. Yeah. So, and also Dan's very, very happy. Dan Solomon's very happy with what we're doing. And I think I've always got their support as long as I pay as much attention as I do to making sure that they go well. Because anything negative, that'll reflect bad in Olympia. That means the Olympian will be whipped away. So I'm under that understanding. So as long as I keep doing a good job and keeping everyone up to date, keep everyone happy, I think I'm going to keep building these.
Oh, I mean, like I said, I can't imagine why any athlete wouldn't want to, because you're making all the arrangements. They really just have to show up. You're taking them everywhere. You're making sure they don't miss meals, which is, that's so paramount to a bodybuilder.
Feeding Andrew, though, my God. Feeding Ronnie 3 times a day, and he's just eating Nando's and burgers and chicken and steak and, normal breakfast, egg white omelets or whatever. Like that's easy, but we've got Andrew who's eating 400 grams of salmon at a time, and but that's where Lauren came in really, really well. She's we sometimes work with prep meal companies. We make sure that they get the food so it's fresh enough every couple of days, and it's but we're experienced enough now. We know what to expect, and like I said, as long as you keep these guys fed and you give them the schedule, and there's obviously they're paid well and stuff. Make sure that's done before they land. Like, as long as you show that you're there for them 24/7 and they're fed and everything, like you get the best out of them. So you don't ever get any issues, And it's and like I said, Ronnie, this is the 4th tour I've done with Ronnie now, so he knows, we know what to expect. And to be honest, having Susan there as well took a lot of not pressure, but took a lot of with everything with Ronnie. It's just she was very, very helpful, and I think I've got a friend for life there.
Cool. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. It's been the power hour and a half. So, that's it, guys. If you have any comments about anything we talked about, Romania, Prague, anything, or any athlete, good comments, bad comments, they all help my videos, believe it or not. So, drop a comment there. And that's it. Giles, thank you. Oh, one last thing.
That Poland show was bloody good, wasn't it?
Oh, the Poland show. Yeah.
Very good. That was a show I wasn't even on my radar, and they ended up getting a really good lineup, great lighting. So let's give a bit of credit to those guys as well, because that was a good show, and that's nice. Because it's more. Remember the post Olympia Grand Prix tours? Yeah. Like you think about it. We've got Prague now, Romania, Poland. We had the British one. It's great to see more opportunities for the Olympia athletes and other athletes also to have a crack at the Olympia athletes. It's good that there's these events, and also gives opportunities for guys to qualify and get a nice early qualification in. So, and also I'm really happy for Presti, because I felt like he's had a bit of a raw deal the last couple of years.
He did. It was kind of a controversial decision because Pradells from the front, I mean, the quads are so much bigger. A lot of people were upset that Pradells lost to Presti just based on the legs, but Presti's his back is much, much more developed. His condition was far, far superior. So they both had things that you could say are flaws or weak points. And like you said, judges are looking for weak points because these guys are all great. They did what they had to do, and they chose Presti.
But think about it like the Olympia, like Derek, Hadi, Andrew, Samson, Martin. There's no kind of dominant champion. They've all got their strengths and weaknesses. You know, we know that Derek's biceps are a bit flat from the front, but then you got Hadi's one leg that's slightly bigger than the other. Like they've all got their pluses and minuses, basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So like there is no, so you could make an argument for like the whole top 5 for being, you know, a lot of people had Andrew winning the Olympia, mate. A lot of people had Andrew winning the Olympia.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people had Hadi winning the Olympia. It's
Correct.
like, I think we're in that era now where there is no dominant Ronnie. There is no dominant Phil Heath, no dominant Dorian, or even like, 2009 Jay, where it's like, shit, okay, who's second? It's, so I think that's why we get so much chatter online, because I get it. I do see that, there's a lot of these, you know, there is no sort of holy shit, you know, like 2003 Ronnie or 2011 Phil or 93 Dorian, where it's like, oh my God, you know, there is an argument for all these guys. And that's why I think the title will change hands quite a lot. I think, you know, from 79 to 84, we had a different Mr. Olympia every year. Yep. I mean, I think Andrew's actually could potentially be the one to win everything. Like, I think he could do what Derek did this year by winning Arnold UK, obviously Romania. And I think he's got the potential with Olympia. But then again, you know, like I said, there's no dominant champion. So it could be Derek, it could be Hadi, it could be Martin, it could be Samson again, of course, you know. So it's in some ways it makes it more exciting. But I do think there's going to be a lot of, you know, like like the Arnold Classic. Who knows? I mean, there's going to be 5-6 guys there who've got the potential to win it.
Absolutely. All right. We'll end it there. So thank you, Giles, as always. Great time talking to you. And everybody, thanks for watching Power Hour. Be sure to drop a comment. If you're not subscribed already, do that. Hit that thumbs up thing. That's a like thing. It's free. Helps me out. And we'll see you right here again next time on Power Hour. Thanks for watching.